And we are on time. Cool. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Oh gosh, I just have 15 people want to join the group. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh, what is happening? Guys,
Awesome.
we are going over 200. We are going to have probably 210 people today. Oh, that's big. Awesome. It's a pretty good start. Good morning. I just saw that there was like 15 new people coming today. Great. Hey, Steve, good morning. Hey, guys, say hi. We are jumping to the new part of the challenge. We are going through more marketing. We're going to focus on marketing and sales basically next few days. And today's topic is the topic that I would always say it's probably challenging for a lot of people. I had actually a conversation with one girl yesterday, and we talked about avatar, and she asked me if she can challenge that conversation about ideal client, and I said, yeah, of course. And she said exactly the thing that I said at the beginning. I would love to work with everyone. I have different clients, you know, they're coming from corporates, they're coming from finance, they're coming from coaching and consultants businesses. And I said, yes, that was exactly what I said at the beginning. It took me 1 year to digest that I need to have ideal client. And that's that one person that we are actually going to talk to through our marketing message. I'm not saying, guys, that you need to have one person you will work with, because that's the big difference. We're just trying to tailor the message. We don't want you to be lost in the crowd, lost in the space, you know, of the social media. Just imagine there is billion people on Facebook. Can you imagine when you talk to everyone and you don't craft your message, you don't try to narrow that down to that one person, they will be lost in space. And we want to talk to right people as well. You want to know who is that ideal client you would love to work with. And it's so important to understand that you can have 3 campaigns for 3 different ideal clients. You can have 10 campaigns for 10 ideal clients. I don't mind. The major issue is here that people never understand that it's for marketing, not for your business, that you will just work with one person. That means when we talk today about ideal client, don't freak out. It's that one person that we try to market, that one person that we try to create a post on social media, or we're trying to create video for social media. Just remember, that's just for marketing reasons. I hope that's clear, but I would like to talk to Dave about because we have like a 16 pages avatar description, and I will definitely love to share the worksheet. Of course, we are not going to give you all those questions because that's basically how deep we are going in our course. We are really working on ideal client for a week at least with the clients. And usually that's even problem because it's taking longer time. That means we try to really challenge everyone to start to think about that. Like, who is that ideal client? How did you start, Dave, your worksheet? Because that's just amazing. Like,
The thing to understand, Alex, is it's an evolution. It's not I sit down in with a notepad and then all of a sudden just blurt it out and I get it perfectly, you know, right from the get-go. The avatar itself evolves. The ideal client avatar, for short, evolves over time. You know, we now have I now work on an avatar, and it's Brian 4.0. So this is now the 4th version of that, or the 4th update. And so when I first sat down and worked with the ideal client that I'd want to work with, it was a really loose description. You know, it was basically, I'm looking at someone 40 to 45. And what I had is I had a description of a bracket as opposed to a description of one person on the planet. And the resistance that we get when we work with clients and organizations in this process is they want to target a segment of the market, or they want to have an offer for this segment of the market, an offer for this segment of the market, an offer for that segment of the market. And the reality to really talk to your ideal client is very counterintuitive. If you can actually pitch your message so that you're talking to that absolute one person. You know what their hair color is, what their eye color is, where do they eat, what's their favorite meals, what social groups do they interact with, what's their family structure, and so forth. Then all that can come across in the language or the copy that you use when you communicate to them, and you're more likely to land an ideal client and then a target market a little bit either side of that. And the whole reason for doing this is, and I'm sure everyone on this call has experienced at some stage working with a client that wasn't aligned with your business or your product or the service of what it is that you're offering. And then the grief factor comes in. You spend so much time trying to impress them, appeal to them, make them all warm and fuzzy and like you again. And the reality is you probably should have never done business with them in the first place.
Yeah, thank you very much. Guys, if you want to share with us who is actually your ideal client, who you love to work with, even just short description, if you can help us and just get some conversation going. And I'm so happy to have you, Carmel, here, Vitor and Steve. Mike, thank you very much for joining us from the US. And it's really nice to have you all, guys. I would like to actually give example because I know that help people so much when we talk about ideal client. And the first thing is when you talk with any digital marketing company or anyone who wants to help you with your marketing, because we usually search for marketers and you know, some help as well. We can't be experts in every platform, but I guess you already had that experience. That first thing that someone asks you on the phone or Zoom call or at a meeting, the first question is always, who is the client that you want to work with? Who is your ideal client? Or who is your audience? Or who is your target market? That's the first question from every marketing company. That's why we do this exercise, because when you are already clear on your ideal client, it's just so much easier for marketers to create your campaigns if you're not doing that by yourself. If you're doing that by yourself, you have to be so clear and understand what kind of message or language they use. They can digest the message that you're actually putting up there. And I can give you example from my campaign. For example, last, I think it was 3 months ago, I was doing or 4 months ago, I was doing Quantum Leap campaign. And that is the program that we run for really inner work, going really deep to really find your purpose and your values and really dive into yourself. And it was amazing. I created this message for actually just women, and it was for women between 40 and 50. There was that kind of age brackets, and I target only Australia. And I really clearly talked to that one person around 40. And I said, look, if you're looking for purpose and you're working hard all your life, and now it's that, you know, question coming, why I'm in this world, what I'm actually going to do with my life, like what I can bring to this world. And all that message was really directed to women. I even mentioned this is for women, you know, in their 40s. And that was funny because I got booked calls from Ukraine. I got book calls from actually Europe that I didn't advertise anything. And I got a lot of questions and calls from actually men. That means, that's why I'm saying always just target one person, one avatar or ideal client, and that message will spread out because a lot of people resonate with the same message. And they're even probably more, I would say, that is support for them to actually be like, oh yeah, I'm not a woman in 40s, but I really want to talk to this person because that message resonates with me. And you will attract more people and you will actually attract wider audience. The major thing is to really create a message that will resonate at least with that one person. That's why it's so important. And we will give you definitely examples, but I can probably just kind of like go through a few different attributes you should know about. Important thing is physical or personal attributes, of course. You know, we're always looking for age, for occupation, and or industry. Where is your actually avatar working in? And if it's small business, if it's corporate, or you can go actually that deep. You can understand what they actually wear, what kind of colors. Dave is really good in that.
Yeah. Alex, here's a good example. So Mike's put up middle-aged retirees who are wanting to improve themselves and improve themselves and in their lives and their dreams. So what would do in that situation, Mike? So what you're kind of describing a target, a segment, if you like. So we want to go a little deeper than that. So what's the specific age of the person that you'd ideally work with? So I work with so my avatar is, give them a name. Let's call it Bob. Okay, Bob is a 51-year-old retired military personnel that. And maybe even go, what part of the military? Was he in the Army? Was he in the Navy? Was he in the Air Force? Was he in the Marines? Whatever the case may be. So specifically get there. Now, that's not to say that you won't deal with people in other areas. It's just have a very, very clear picture. If this person was standing in front of you, tell me everything that you can about them. What's their hair color? What's their age? How do they dress? How do they present themselves? You know, it might be that they have a distinct tattoo, their military, a distinct tattoo that they wear that corresponds to the squadron or the platoon that they're in. It's getting that specific.
Yeah, I can probably just kind of like go into the specifics, like when we talk about relationship status, for example. It's very clear on our avatar, yeah? That was married 19 years to Monique.
Yeah.
Straight alpha male, wedding ring, simple gold band. Analog, what is that? Wristwatch. it's like, it's really, really being specific. And I love the personal appearance, that you were really good in that. That was basically the smart business Calvin Klein suit and trousers, light blue, gray check. It's just really going that deep. I know people are freaking out and always said, guys, you're not normal. But it's really, why are we doing that? Because when you can imagine that you sit in front of that person that you're talking to, and you really can understand and you can imagine the person and visualize the person, that's the best thing what you can do, because you will probably be able to have a conversation in your head even, you know, or you'll be able to ask questions and figure out what they really need. And when you're going through like a social observations, you know, like what is their favorite sport, what team they follow, or what are their hobbies, or what they do in their free time, or what sport activities they do, that will help you to understand where you can find them, how they socialize. Because some of your avatars don't need to be in networking events, and you still go to networking events. Some of your avatars maybe just go to play golf, or they're going to swimming clubs. And I think this is very important to understand. Some of your clients you can find through your kids' football games, or, you know, it can be some of them can really love theater or culture or any art. And I guess, you know, that you need to know about your ideal client, those small things, because that way you will be able to actually go there and maybe start conversations with people actually in that kind of environment. And there's more stuff around, but we are just coming to section 2, and it's around behavior, and I guess that's the probably hard part for a lot of us, because we need to open that conversation with some people. Or the best thing what you can do is probably go to your ideal clients or clients that you've worked with before, if you had already clients, and really open the conversation and ask them some questions, because they can help you to understand maybe the things that you didn't understand before. And important is to know what are their top fears and frustrations. That means you need to understand what keeps them awake, what makes them angry, or what makes them frustrated. And the thing is, when you know those things, you can also language your message very clearly, because you will be able to touch that fear or frustrations, or what is worrying them. Also, it's great to know what kind of energy they have, because that's another thing that is touching probably DISC. That's another tool we are using. And it's really great to understand if you're, for example, if your avatar is dominant, you know, in your message has to be very clearly articulate what you do, how are you doing that, just specifics and logical things, you know, practical things, what exactly they will achieve. You need to be very specific. If you will make message for some other energy, and you will just create something like, yeah, you will connect with your love and inner yourself, and they will probably never understand what you're talking about. But when you will go deeper in the numbers, maybe statistics, maybe it's just to tell them like, this is it, this is your problem, this is what we will help you with, clear message. You don't need to put blah, blah when it's dominant person, for example. That means there's a lot of different techniques you can understand the energy of your client. Do you have anything to add here, Dave? Or are you reading comments? Because I really don't have time.
Yeah, I am. So you could get, yeah, you're right there, Alex. When you go into energy types, you know, you need to understand things like their blend of masculine and feminine energy. And it's not to say, are they a male or a female? It's, you know, you
Yes.
could be dealing with your ideal client, for argument's sake, might be a businesswoman like yourself, Alex, where you're a female and a very feminine female, but you have some masculine traits in terms of
Still trying to balance that.
Yeah, you're direct, you're firm, you know what you want, you're driven, you know, kind of that alpha female type scenario, which would indicate that you have some masculine energy types. It's not to say that you're a man or you act like a bloke. It just says that some of your energy levels come from that
Thank
perspective.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I don't act like a bloke.
No. And if you're not in Australia, bloke is an Australian colloquialism for a male or a man. So.
Cool. Guys, please share some stuff. Yeah, I love this. Vitor mentioned that. Yeah, it's amazing too and really powerful. I agree. Guys, if you have anything you want to share or ask about your ideal client or how to actually find out what are their fears or desires, because we are going deeper in that energies, and the desires and motivations are very important, and also how they probably purchase their products or service. I sometimes tell people, like, just figure out if your client is using already your competitors, or, you know, or if they used something like you do, or if they have any experience, and maybe even ask them what was their experience. Because you need to understand their motivations, why they want to work with someone like you, or why they will think about that. And desires, look, it's something that you need to understand probably why they want to achieve better results, or why they want to purchase your product, or why they want to use your services. What that desire, what you can bring them, what you can help them to fulfill. And yeah, very important, really very important feelings. And that's like, what feelings does your ideal customer want to experience through the purchasing your product or service? That means how that will make them feel if they will try to work with you or they will try your product.
Yeah, Alex, and it's very important to have a look at both what's the obvious and then what's the underlying in that as well. Yes. So the obvious thing may very well be that they want to improve their skill sets in a particular area that helps them deal with a client, right? But the underlying thing will be they want to overcome the overwhelm, the anxiety they have around not feeling good enough to really provide that particular impact with a client. So it's what's the surface desire, and then have a look at a little bit of psychology or what's going on behind all that, so that you can understand how do they, because the desire, there's the desire they'll share with you and tell you, and then there's what's going on, that real internal feeling as well. So you need to understand that distinction. Yeah,
that's so important. Thank you for that, because that's very important to really understand what is, we call it hidden desires or problems or issues, because that's something always going on in our life. We don't really want to talk about that, to talk to everyone about that. And I guess it's hard to share sometimes the deeper things, you know, and I guess that's normal. And everybody has, you know, behind the door something. It can be issues in relationships, issues in business they don't want to tell you, or the personal issues like I don't feel good enough, or maybe I need support there, or I fear something. It's all the fear around different things. And it can be so many things inside. And also, I guess there was another thing that was interesting to understand about your ideal clients, are feelings actually towards provider and from provider. That means what feelings does your ideal customers have towards you, and what feelings they receive from you. I guess that's another, you know, thing that probably we never think about.
Alex, I've got a great question from Mike. It's should you base your avatar on yourself? Mike, I can tell you that you go back 5 years ago, my first description of my avatar was me 5 years before that, if you like. So I was looking at where I was 5 years ago and the growth. And then I started to look at other people within that industry and that I was looking to target, because we know the obstacles and the hurdles that we've personally overcome. So it gives us some insight as to maybe what problem we're solving for others if you're dealing in that space. So this is where this also relates to how you can get very specific. So I suggest you give your avatar a name. My avatar's name is Brian, and I'm on version 4.0. I just do an update every 12 months or so, and that's how you can get to a specific age. So rather than I work with financial professionals between 35 and 50, right? Brian is a financial services professional that's 44 years old. I'm that specific, as opposed to a range. And I know it seems a little counterintuitive to begin with, because you want to go, oh no, I want to capture as much as the market as I possibly can. It's not about that. Is if you were to describe one ideal person on the planet that you were to deal with and they're standing in front of you, that's what you're describing. It doesn't mean that's the only person you're going to work with. Yep. You'll naturally tackle people, you know, a bracket, you know, a bit of a bracket either side of that. But the idea is to be so clear in your head on who that ideal person is, other people will resonate with you and warm to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also when I was running small program for women, for example, that was when I actually was my avatar, because I know what I overcame. And for me, overcame the trauma in particular area that is really clearly just female. I was actually helping them even run some community and some community services, and actually work for free to actually help them, because I helped myself and I just basically shared the system. That means for me, that was something that I use myself as an avatar. It depends, I guess, you know, who you want to work with. And that's very important. If that is you, it's probably easier to understand. If that is something that you provide and you know that helped you, I believe you can be your avatar. But if you didn't help yourself, I guess it's quite harder. And yeah, Mark mentioned that deeper you dig with your avatar, the easy it will be to get them to use your products and services. Yes, I absolutely agree. And that's all why is this conversation here, because that's really start of your marketing, to understand who you are going to work with, because you won't be able to create any marketing message or your marketing copy or any advertisement posts or videos. It will be quite hard when you will talk about desires of, I don't know, kids, and you will try to attract 40-year-old person in the video, and you will talk about some desires or pain points. It's never going to be actually, or you will never attract that 40-year-old person, but you will attract kids. That means you need to really understand the language you're using and what you're talking about. And what I really think the most important from like an all exercise around avatar or ideal client is it's a lot about pain and problems and desires, because that's probably the major message. I'm not saying we are playing here pain and pleasure and, you know, old messages, old marketing, like, are you feeling frustrated and really, you know, tap into the points. You need to understand how you can language that as well, because a lot of people were using last 3 months, you know, did you lose the job? You know, that happened to you because of COVID-19. And a lot of people use that. And I guess that was very bad after like first 3 weeks. First 3 weeks was probably in because people were still, you know, kind of like on top and they tried to do something. But when it was going to deeper pain, there were really a lot of people that really suffered. And I guess that was not probably the right time to use that message. That means you also need to understand what kind of pain points you can address and what language to use to really be sure you're not hurting someone even more. And I guess that's very important. Desires, why they want to work with you, we talk about it. That's very important. Pain is important because we need to understand what they need to solve. That means pain points are more like what are real problems, what they really want. And as I said, it's really connected with problems, issues, pain points, and also some fears. That means that will be probably something that will be important to address. And
yeah. Look, Mike's got another question there. So, do you dive into family dynamics, faith activities? Yes, absolutely, Mike. Because when you're sent the whole, this is how important the avatar process is. When I'm working with clients and we're getting a feel for where they're at in their business, if they don't have an updated description of their ideal client, their avatar, then that is the number one thing that I work with them on, because everything that you do with your business should be about communicating to that person. And if there's resistance, if it's something they say, hey, I don't want to do that, this is not something I'm going to do, then I just don't work with that client. That's how important that process is. So the more that you can document and understand, the more that you can relate to them in your copy of your marketing and your emails and your general face-to-face conversations, because it'll come across like you understand them, you get them, you know what's going on inside their head, even though you're not saying, hey, Bob, I know what you're thinking. It's the language that you use and the way that you communicate and the conversations that you have. They will naturally understand, they'll come to the conclusion that, hey, this person really gets me. And then from there, you've built such a good bond and such a good relationship. You're gracefully able to work with them through the sales process.
Yeah. And it's so visible when I'm like, I was doing some advertisement and I got some phone calls booked for sessions, and there was all people, for example, they actually moved in to Perth, and actually they started business and they struggle because it's isolated people. It's really hard to find new contacts and new people to work with. And actually someone, they will be like, yeah, I know this person, you know, from childhood. I can tell you she's good. It's really hard to find that, you know, trust and build that trust over a very short time. And I was able to connect with those kind of clients very quickly, because I exactly understand the pain they're going through and how great they are in their industry, but they can't find the clients at the beginning because it's so hard to prove something, you know, to totally new people with your accent from different countries. They don't understand what kind of culture you're coming from. And that's why it's very important exactly to understand why they need money, why they need that people, that connection, what they need in also personal life, not only business. And all that conversation was going amazing. And I think that's why we try to push this. And this is something we work with clients in our new course coming, Advance Your Business. And it will be questionnaire, I think it's like 30 or 40 questions. It's going really, really deep into clients. And we are opening conversations with different ideal clients and avatars. And we also had some interviews, and we know what are some attributes that can help you to think about and maybe to connect with your avatar, because it's just so important to work on the document, and no one really do it when it's any free content or any free webinar. I guess that you saw that probably on millions webinars, because everybody's talking about ideal client. And I was same, I attended probably last 3 years, you know, I don't know, 20 webinars around ideal client. And I will be very honest, I didn't do it until the time that I understand that I have to do it, and I have to fill that document and start to talk to people and ask questions to understand how to language my posts and marketing.
Yeah, there's a natural, I guess, hesitation or resistance from people, because that first thought is, why do I want to talk about one person? I want as many people as possible to be my clients. And it's understanding that this is actually a journey to help you with your marketing and your copy, so that you can really, really communicate effectively to that ideal person on the planet, which becomes the center of your target market. So if we can really understand who's at the center of your target market, you're going to draw those people either side of that process. Look, Alex, we've done workshops together before with Avatar, where we're 4 hours into it, you know, a half-day workshop. And we've only just scratched the surface in terms of just how deep that you can go. But as I said, this is an evolution. It's not. It's something that you need to review and upgrade and look at on an ongoing basis. And I would suggest every 6 months is probably a good time to review that. Maybe every quarter if you're really diligent with your processes. But what you'll find is after a couple of times you'll tighten it up. You'll go deeper and deeper. And then the more you work with clients, the more you work with your target client, okay, the more deeper you'll go into understanding them. And so when you do your revision, you'll go, oh, hang on, I had no idea that understanding their family dynamics was important, because now I know that, you know, they've got 3 kids and they have a busy social schedule because always running around after kids. And that takes their focus away from their job, from their work, from their time that they have available. So it's understanding all those sorts of processes and how that affects, you know, where their head's at when it comes to work.
Yeah, Thank you for that. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And it took us really half-day workshop, and I think that's for some people crazy, but it is true and it's so important. And that's why when I will share the worksheet with you guys, I will put only a few questions, but I really urge you to actually do it, because we will run slowly every day to marketing message and creating landing page and content for landing page. And that is the time that you need to actually have that already done, or need to understand your client, because you will be able to create your landing page or your content or your story very easily, because you will already have that language from today. Sorry. And yeah, that's why I will probably actually finish. Yeah, it's 8:30. We can talk forever about this. But if you have any questions, please just drop the comments. We will come back to the comments right now, and I will just add some more questions to your ideal client worksheet, and I will share the small homework for today. I hope you will be able to go deeper into your ideal client, and please just really do it. If you have questions, connect with your ideal client or someone you worked with before, or connect to us, and let's chat about that. It's very important. Thank you very much, Dave, for your help and being here. Thank you very much, guys. It was really nice to have you all here. Thank you, Mike, Vitor, and Mark, everybody for comments. That was amazing, and it's great to hear your ideal clients and questions you have. It's awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.